Well, welcome everyone. We want to be conscious of your time. Thank you so much for joining us. We are super excited to be coming back to UHS and back in person. It has been a long year. So we are back and we are glad to be back. So we will get started. Please put any questions you have into the Q&A box. And anything that has a easy answer for you, one of our panelists will just answer the question in the Q&A box, and then we will stop for questions along the way. And then also freshman parents, please stick around. We have a whole section at a whole second half, I shouldn't say at the end, but a whole second half just for you, because we know you have a lot of questions because we need to show you the ropes here at UHS. We figured it would be a lot easier to do this via webinar so that we could just answer all of your questions. In earlier days, pre-COVID, we used to have a parent welcome night at the Satellite Student Union and have wine and cheese and all that exciting stuff. But just still, because of COVID and everything, we wanted to just be cautious and give you this information in this format. And this also allows people to take notes and just get all of the information they need and answer all of their questions. And then also, we'll be able to tell you about next week as well, our back to school night, which is way earlier. We usually do that in September. So we will get started. Let me share my screen here. Okay, so I am Jeffy Hickman. I'm the principal superintendent here at University High. It's my second year in that role, but it's my 10th year here at UHS, and I am very glad to be here in this role. I have with me also is Mr. Aaron Morgan, our vice principal, his second year here with us. And he's also, I'm sure, excited to actually have real life students here with us. Yes, we actually have students here on campus, so it'll be exciting for him. We also have Mrs. Rocio Fernandez, counselor with last names A through K, and that's student last names A through K. And then we also have Mrs. Jenny Bird, another counselor extraordinaire with student last names L through Z. I don't have her name listed on here. I apologize for that, but she is with us for part of the webinar. Mrs. Joanna Felger, she is our development director. We do have some new staff this year. I wanted to introduce to you and let you see their names here. We have Mrs. Lisette Lancaster. She is our new 10th grade English teacher. She comes to us from Madera Unified with 20 years of experience teaching high school English. And so we are very excited to have her join us. We do have a new office assistant. As you can see on the next part there, Mrs. Ellie Palomo, she has not moved, but she has moved to a new position, and she is our new registrar, as Mrs. Ray has left and gone into the retirement zone. And so Ellie in the front is in a different office, and we have Mrs. Maggie Davis in the front. So please welcome her when you see her and when you call in for her. As a reminder, if you do come to campus, and that includes next week for back to school night, please wear a mask when you are inside the buildings. When you're outside, you don't have to, but when you are inside the classrooms, please wear a mask. And that's not only for just common courtesy and safety, but that's also as per Fresno state rules, and then also for county education rules and California state rules in classrooms, K through 12 classrooms, masks must be worn. Okay, I'm going to give it away to Mr. Morgan.
All right. Okay, one of the most important things you need to do this year is make sure you're connected with all the important information sources out there. And it's hard to realize because there's lots of places to get your information from. And so we try to hit all of them, but make sure you're at least on a couple of them yourself so you can stay up to date with what's out there. Obviously, our website has great information that is updated. That's going to be more static information. It's going to be the least changed information, mostly like the resources you need to kind of get through each day, understand how the year works. Great things are on the website there. You can find answers to a lot of your questions. In PowerSchool, you're going to find our daily bulletin, which has updates of upcoming events. It's like our calendar, essentially, and it's updated all the time by our office staff, so you can see what's coming up in the days and weeks ahead. Always make sure that your email is up to date because we do send out emails regularly through our UHS attendants and also through a generic email account to whatever email addresses we have on file. So if we have your email, then we'll send you things as well. Another simple way we address or contact you guys is through Remind. You can sign up for any one of our Remind classes and we'll post those out for you guys, but it's really simple. You use your phone and you text the number 81010, and there's a secret code for each class. Each class has its own code, and that'll push out information that goes to all the students, all the parents, and you list yourself as a parent. Most of the kids are already in Remind, and it's a quick way for us to communicate with you. Even the teachers have their own Remind accounts. If you just go to your Remind app, you can actually search for University High School, and it'll show you all the classes you're eligible to join as well. So just a simple way of doing that just on the app. We send info through Peace Jar flyers, which are connected to your emails as well. And then, of course, social media. We have Instagram, where we'll post things that are happening on our campus, or events like tonight, we'll post that on Instagram. We have our Twitter feed and our Facebook feed as well. So make sure you're following us there so you can stay up to date with what's happening each day on our campus. All right, next slide. In the next day or so, we're going to get you guys your PowerSchool accounts and get access to returning parents. So if you're a returning parent, you're familiar with PowerSchool, and we're going to need everyone to update their demographic information this year. Most years we send home papers and have you fill them all out and sign them and get them back to us. This year, we're able to put all that digitally on our PowerSchool parent portal for you. It's going to take all the information we already have and pre-populate it into electronic forms that you simply have to verify. So unless there's a lot of things to change, if you had a change of address or things of that nature, you're really going to log in and just look at 4 different online documents, make sure your information is correct, and press submit. It's going to be as simple as that. It might only take you 5 minutes to do all your paperwork for us this year, which is great. If you don't have an account or you have trouble logging in, we're always here to help you. You can email UHS attendants or simply call our office and we'll walk you through that. Right now, that portal's closed while we're working on schedules. We hope to have all that up and running for you guys by tomorrow. We had to do some schedule type of changes working with Fresno State our last couple of days. So we've kind of had that closed for a little bit, but as soon as it's ready, we will open up access to the parent portal and you can get all your demographic stuff done there. Freshman parents, you don't have access to that quite yet. We're going to push out an email to you guys so you can know your access account information, your passwords, so you know how to get onto that service. The main thing is we want all your information updated by August 27th. That gives you about 3 weeks to get it all done. Again, take you about 5 minutes. Let's see the next slide there. It's going to walk you real quick how to do it. It really is this simple. There's 4 forms. You can go to the UHS website, and on that, when you scroll down, you'll see our tile with the Phoenix. There's a cell there, a little square for the parent portal. You'll click on that tile right there, and then you'll enter your username and password, which you already have or will provide for you. And then it'll open a new screen for your PowerSchool parent portal access. On the left-hand side, you're going to see the word forms, and you just click on the forms, and then all 4 of the forms you need to fill out will pop up. You'll notice they'll have red bars next to them, which means you haven't completed them yet. And once you've completed them and submitted them, you'll see a green leaf and a green line, which means you are all good to go. It really is quite simple, and we're glad you don't have to get a hand cramp writing all those signatures and lines and updating your emails and phone numbers again and again. So it's going to be great. All right. Thank you.
All right, so just to review a little bit about us counselors. So of course, it's myself, Mrs. Bird, and Mrs. Fernandez. We do have our own counseling area. So in the main office, we have our counseling side door. We'll go over a little bit more about the counselor's role for the freshman parents. But for all of our returning students and new students, just to let everybody know, we do have an open door policy. So that just means, students can either make an appointment, which they can do that by emailing us, and letting us know, hey, Mrs. Bird, Mrs. Fernandez, I'd like to see you tomorrow. Can I see you during a free period or between classes, at lunch, after school? So students can either just walk in and come see us, or they can actually schedule an appointment. It's the same thing for parents. We definitely encourage you to reach out to us. If you have questions or concerns about anything at UHS, or you just need information, we're definitely your point of contact. So please reach out. Our email and contact information is on our counseling page on the website. So if you go to the counseling tile, you'll see our information. We do, in terms of upcoming, we will be having senior conferences here in the next couple of weeks. We will get going with those because we definitely want to meet with all of our senior parents and students individually to really go over college application season time. So that's the fun part, where we're going to be guiding you through all of those college applications, financial aid, and other important information that you need to apply. So that information will be coming out. We also have college reps visits. Those may be a mixture of, college reps coming to campus as well as online at lunch in like a Zoom format that students can log in during lunch. And then visit with any of those college reps. And usually the calendar of when college reps are coming, we post that in the bulletin, as well as through Naviance, our web-based platform that we use. We also, something that's going to carry on in the next couple of years, because we really liked it last year when we implemented a Google Classroom for every grade level. This was really helpful in posting information rather than having a bunch of hard copies that we would always give. So scholarship information, resources, things that we think are pertinent, especially for the grade level, we will post. And so all of our returning students do already have access to that Google Classroom. And then our incoming freshmen, we will be creating a Google Classroom for you as well. So that's just one way that we like to get information out, and it sends notices and things. So we definitely want all students to have access to that. And then of course we use Naviance here at UHS, which is a web-based platform. Essentially all of our students have what we call a virtual locker, and it's their own account that they are trained to use all 4 years here at UHS, that basically has access to college and career assessments, personality assessments, resume feature. They will use it as their college application tool. So lots of great resources. There's test prep in there, SAT and ACT test prep that we pay for students to use at their own free time. Although they rarely have some free time sometimes. But we definitely have a lot of resources through Naviance that we train the students on how to use and access that information.
Okay, next, I just want to say we really appreciate your donations. Last year when we sent out information about donations, and we know it was a COVID year and many people weren't working, and we were just so thankful and grateful for everyone that made their donations to us, and the work that Mrs. Felger did with our parent community. And so this is just an example. I was going through and trying to update, just some samples of the different costs of what our program costs, and that's unique to UHS, because we do have small classes, because we have our 48 books program, our elective session, just different things like that. Those things do cost additional money. So I just kind of put together some figures there so you can get an idea of just how much some of these things do cost. So we do appreciate your donations. And so next I wanted to introduce Mrs. Felger, and she can talk to us a little bit about our program.
Thanks, Jeffy. I don't know if you have a slide that shows the actual annual fund campaign form.
Yes, hang on. There you go.
So let's take a look at that, and then we'll go back to Phoenix Alliance. As Mrs. Hickman said, I am the development director and community relations person for the school. And one of my greatest joys is interacting with the parents. I don't get to know the kids as much as I get to know the parents. And I want to congratulate all of you on your student getting into this great school. You probably know, because it has been in the paper, that University High School has been recognized once again by U.S. News and World Report as one of the best schools in the country. And we've always been within the top 100 of public schools, and I believe we're number 20 with regard to charter schools in the country. So I congratulate you, and I know your student is in for a remarkable experience here. And as Mrs. Hickman said, with what we offer does come expenses that we need help covering. And we ask each parent, and we have done this particular amount, we have no intention of raising it, for about the last 15 years. And we ask parents to support us by giving a donation of $700 for the year per student. And you probably received this form with the summer mailing. It's pretty self-explanatory. We try to make it as easy as we can. Certainly complete the information. There are different ways that you can make the donation. You can simply write a check. You can put it on a credit card. If you want to pay installments, you're more than welcome to do that. We can use a credit card or do an electronic transfer out of your checking account once a month if you'd like to do that. So let's say you want to pay $70 over a 10-month period of time. We can go ahead and get that set up for you. We have a specific kind of software, a fundraising software called East Tapestry, and we process your donations as soon as we get them. It's a virtual terminal that is very secure. Once I receive this particular document back from you, I enter it into that software, and then the hard copy is destroyed for security purposes, and then everything is under lock and key, and I'm the only one that has access to it. So we really try to follow protocols that keep your financial information safe. Many parents will just simply make a donation in the fall, but about half of our folks want to split it over time, and that's perfectly fine. Make sure that you let me know when you want the donation period to begin, and the amount, and how many months or how many installments you want to make. This year, the one favor I am asking is if you could please have the donation start in the month of September or later. Sometimes I have folks that want to start it right away, and I get about 400 of these forms to go through, and I might miss it, and I would hate to throw off your financial plan. So if you could have that start a little later, that would be great. As always, if you have questions, please feel free to call me, because I can help you work through whatever you'd like to make this as easy as possible for you. Some of our folks, for financial planning purposes, want their donation to begin after the first of the year. So if you would like to do that, that's perfectly fine. If you could please just return this form letting me know that, just to contact you after the first year, and we can figure out how you want to proceed then. And unless there are questions, that's all I have with regard to the donation, except for to say that we truly appreciate your support. What you provide in this affects every one of our students in a number of ways, and it really does enhance their experience here. And I'm going to say one more word about parent volunteering. And as you can imagine, and as you'll see, as you look and your students start to prepare for college, you have the whole academic side, and then you have their extracurricular side of activities that they do. And it can be student government, or it can be academic decathlon, or it could be speech and debate team. We have a lot of students that do that. We have a variety of different clubs that students participate in. And while we have a lot of support from our staff, we don't have a very big staff. So we often need parent volunteers to help with things. And if we do, you will receive an email from me. The teachers let me know their needs, and I pass them along to you on a software platform that we have called Volunteer Hub. And this is something that the account, I actually set it up for freshman parents. It'll be set up for you after your Power School account is set up. So don't be worried that you aren't hearing from me yet. And last year we didn't have need of a lot of volunteers because we were shut down. So our sophomore parents aren't used to hearing from me either. But as things roll forward, and if we do have some events that we need some help with, we have an event we put on in the fall that we will probably need some help from folks, just doing things like helping pass out lunches for students. It's nothing that's earth shattering. We don't ask you to go door to door to get silent auction items or anything like that. but we do need at times parent participation, often with carpooling. That's another one. And as things open up this year, we may be calling on you. If your student is involved in one of those activities, you're the first one we're going to call, but we will ask for other folks to jump in as well if you can't help us out. So be prepared for that, and know that we don't ask you to take on more than you can. We don't keep track of your volunteer hours and ding you for not being here, but we do appreciate you stepping up, especially for the good of students that your students that are really, once again, getting all they can out of the experience and all the different things that we offer here. Thank you, Mrs. Hickman, and good luck to all your parents. If you have questions, give me a call.
Great. Thank you. Mrs. Felger, there's one question on the Q&A if you could answer that. Thank you very much.
Will do.
We're going to keep on going. I get to talk about our daily schedule. Just as a reminder, we start at 7:55. Okay, over the last year, we have started at 8 o'clock just to make things easier for you, but we are back to in person and we are starting at 7:55. Okay, so especially for the older kids, the seniors that are driving, they like to scoot in here at 8 o'clock, but remember it's 7:55. Okay, that is actually one of the biggest issues that we have are tardies. So please help your kids out by giving them a nudge to get going. We are starting school on Wednesday, August 18th, and Fresno State, their first day back is Monday, August 23rd. So that means we have 3 days to practice before Fresno State comes back. And for those of you, probably junior and senior parents, you remember what that's like. It is really crowded, okay? And so even though I know we'll have, some Fresno State students that are online and it may not be as crowded, but it's still pretty crowded. So please plan accordingly. If you think you're gonna swing in through here at 7:50 and drop them off, you will not be able to. So please plan accordingly, okay? And really try to get here earlier to drop off your students, okay? So that is that. Again, freshman parents will explain this whole performing group thing for you. Most of the freshmen have a 7th period performing group, so they're usually done by 3 o'clock. The 10th through 12th grade students are done either 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, depending on what their performing group is. Okay, and yearbook. Here's information about our yearbook. I will put this into, sorry. I'll need someone else to put that in the chat if you can do that, Mr. Morgan. This is the link to our yearbook store, and our yearbooks are on sale for $65 until September 19th. So senior parents, if you want to create an ad, you can also do it online as well, okay? Last year, if you saw our yearbooks, they were absolutely fabulous. Our yearbook staff with Mr. Johnson and Mrs. Hayden, they do a fabulous job. So definitely it's an all color yearbook, definitely worth the $65. Do not wait and don't wait till last minute and miss out on getting one of our yearbooks. Okay, next, Mrs. Fernandez.
All right, so I get to talk about registration. And so we will welcome our juniors and seniors on campus on Thursday, August 12th for registration. We have the scheduled registration from 8:30 to 9:30, and registration is by birth month. So here on the screen, you could see that students born in the month of January through March will need to come or be here at 8:30. Students born in April through June will need to be here at 8:45. Students born in July through September need to be here at 9. And then students born in October through December will need to be here at 9:15. And so our students will do a walkthrough. We expect them to bring their donations forms, donations if possible, and they will receive their class schedule, their locker information. They'll be able to go and register for their Fresno State classes. Our juniors will also take a new Fresno State ID picture. So please make sure you are dressed appropriately for your picture. And parents, like Mr. Morgan mentioned earlier, we will need you to complete that online demographic registration when that becomes available to you guys in the next couple of days.
Okay.
I'm going to be going over the sophomore orientation, which this is new for us. We're calling it really the freshmore orientation because unfortunately our freshmen last year were completely online until later in the spring when they actually did about half the class returned to campus. So we decided to do something a little special just because they missed out on our full day freshman orientation that normally our students get. So to meet halfway, we are giving them a half day orientation registration. So similar to what Mrs. Fernandez mentioned, all sophomores are to report to UHS at 8:30 in the large band room. In similar style, they'll be getting their class schedule, their planner. They'll be turning in any paperwork, their annual donation, and getting their locker number so that way they can go to their locker that day and figure out where it is and so forth. Also going on, we will have a student welcome, and Mrs. Hickman will be doing that. We'll be introducing the sophomore teachers, and my peer mentors that they had last year will continue on with them this year, and they will be there to meet in small groups with the sophomores. We're going to do a nice campus tour. Most of the students that came back in the spring, they just received sort of the UHS campus tour, but we will be doing a full campus tour, and that way they can see all the different areas since they may not have seen any of that before. We also have some activities planned, volleyball and water balloons, and we also have, I went today and bought a bunch of popsicles to keep everybody cool. So just a great way. I also have my mentors being prepared to also talk about the sophomore world history class because many of my peer mentors were just in Dr. Vallis's class last year, and that was completely online for them, so they can give tips and pointers specifically to the sophomores so they are ready to go for that college class. And so parent pickup is at 12. And so you can swing back by and pick up your sophomore there.
One thing really fast I just wanted to say about for the juniors and seniors, it doesn't last all the way until 10:30. As soon as they're done getting their information, and we have just a small little activity for them to do, then they're done. So they may be done as soon as 9:30 or so.
And then Mrs. Hickman, if I could also just mention, if you can't make it during your scheduled registration, you can come another day. So you just need to coordinate with us because we will be in meetings in the next couple of days. So you just need to let us know that you will not be able to make it, and we could coordinate a different date and figure something out for you.
Yes, thank you.
Also, I wanted to chime in that during the registration, especially for our freshmen and sophomore parents, when you drop off students, our Phoenix Alliance parent group, who you're going to meet the president of in just a minute here, will be in the choir room that day with several parents, and you are well for kind of a meet and greet. And we encourage you to go ahead and park and come on through to have an opportunity to just meet some other parents and maybe just get, questions answered, anything that's from day-to-day stuff that goes on that you'd like to have answered.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, before we go forward, can you bring Mrs. Rogers over as a panelist from the audience?
Sure can. What's her first name?
Barbara.
Barbara.
I will go backwards here.
While you're looking for her, I have had a couple of questions here. May I chime in?
Sure.
A couple of really good questions, actually. First of all, a parent asked, do we get a tax receipt for our donation? And that's a very important point, that your donation is 100% tax deductible. And what we generally do is send out all receipting in the month of January for the full year's donations. If you do need one sooner, I'm very happy to provide one at any time that you need it. But thought that was a real good point to get out there. And also, when our parent group needs help or our teachers need help, I wanted to also say that you'll see our flyers from time to time in Peach Jar. That's another platform that we use. So that was it. Thank you.
And I'd like to introduce Mrs. Rogers, Barbara Rogers. She is our Phoenix Alliance president. Thank you for joining us. She actually teaches a class until 6 o'clock, so she is multitasking with us tonight.
Right. Yeah. Hi, welcome. Welcome, everybody. All right. Sophomores, freshmen, everybody. All right. So Phoenix Alliance, this is my first year as president, so I'm really excited about this. It's a great, Phoenix Alliance is a great, kind of a parent booster club. I always looked at it as like an opportunity to volunteer and give back and support our students. With not just their academic, but more extracurricular activities like we help with MODA, which is Magic of the Arts. I don't know if you mentioned Magic of the Arts in October is coming up, and there's also a Phoenix Fling in the spring. I haven't been to one yet, so I'm excited. Hopefully, we'll see what that looks like in the springtime. But it's a great way to support your student. And it's a big, to me at least, it was a big jump from middle school for my child to being a student in high school. So it was a really good way of because University High actually really seems to it really kind of become they're teaching the students to become an advocate for themselves and being more responsible. And it's just a great way to kind of step back and support your students doing that with the volunteering. So we meet once or the second Tuesday of the month. Our first one's going to be September 14th at 6 p.m. I believe it's I think it's going to be in the choir room, or not the choir room, the big band room, because it's a big meeting. But we just kind of go over what's coming up, what opportunities we have to volunteer. And it's a great way to also, a lot of times, Mrs. Hickman and Mrs. Felger will be there. And it's a lot of times to kind of get the inside scoop on what's going on. Because I don't know about you, but my daughter doesn't tell me everything. I'm surprised, right? But so it's kind of fun to see there's a winter prom coming up. Oh, I didn't know that. So it's kind of fun to hear about what's coming up too. And so you get I like the insides. I feel like the insider get information there. So, and there's also a chance to do some volunteering with and helping out with the Magic of the Arts, as I said before. We'll also send you a remind on the when you sign up for the remind, we'll send you a reminder of the meeting and also a parking code too. I remember that one. Let's see what else. But you're welcome to. I'm going to be at the orientations, and we'll be over there with some coffee and some pastries, and you can see. And I'm sure we'll have some more Phoenix Alliance members there, and we love to have as many people volunteer and have fun, because we have a lot of fun at the board meetings. So it's just a lot of fun. So make sure that you kind of just try out the September 14th and see what's going on. And it's a great way. To me, I always thought it was a support group to find other parents too, because now you get to see your kids have all these great new friends and new environment, and it's a great way to meet the new parents too, and kind of connect with other parents, and then your child too at the same time, or student rather, I guess it would be. At the same time, you're like, oh, did you, is that Sophie's mom, or is that, what I mean? So it's kind of, we were a little bit we came from a smaller school, so we kind of knew everybody. So it was kind of fun to kind of have like just a little bit better connection with the Phoenix Alliance meetings too. I think that's it. Any questions? Let me know. Just type in the Q&A and.
I'm doing the old, oh, you're on mute. So I'm trying to answer a few of them here online here for you. So Barbara, feel free to answer some of these questions here.
No problem.
Hang on, I'm doing
and if there's anything I forgot to mention, this is my first time too. So if there's anything I forgot to mention, definitely feel free to mention it too. So Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's get back to, here we go, upcoming activities. Mr. Morgan.
That's me. Hey, there are a lot of upcoming activities. So get your calendar out. Here we go. Next Monday, we start off with back to school night. That's at 5:30 on campus. And that's for parents. Just because we have a small campus and your kids will already be here soon enough, please just parents, leave the kids at home that night so we can have some space for the adults. But when you're here, make sure you wear your mask inside the classrooms. And parents, you're going to follow your kids' schedules that night, attend their classes, meet the teachers, receive the syllabi, just a simple back to school night before school even starts, which is great. Phoenix Alliance is going to be on hand for a little meet and greet. Mrs. Felger is going to be there to accept your annual donations. And of course, we'll be there to answer any questions you might have. And then the first day of school is Wednesday, August the 18th. So we're super excited. That is in person. It's not online. So if your kiddo wakes up that morning and says they're logging in for class, they're in the wrong place. Get them out of bed and dressed and showered, comb the hair, whatever you got to do, and get them over here, and we will take them and enjoy every minute we have with them. Friday will be our first activity on the 20th. It's going to be senior activity day. They have a change makers coming, and we have activities scheduled for each grade level throughout the first few weeks of school. And seniors get going off first on the first Friday, the 20th. That evening, we actually have an all-school activity through United Skates of America, a little activity there. So it's going to be from 7 to 10.
And it's actually back at Gateway Ice Centers. Sorry.
Back at Gateway. Okay, we're at Gateway Ice Center. So that's going to be well, new place, but they still have ice. So as long as there's ice, it's going to be good. It'll be cold. So it's going to be hot, like 125 degrees that day. So make sure you send your kiddo to the ice skating rink that night to cool off and be able to enjoy the weekend. Then on Friday the 27th will be a club day and sign up day and inflatables after school. Often we do this during lunchtime, but we're going to have it after school. It's kind of a school-wide event, kind of hang out, play around, have a good time day. That's going to be on the 27th. And then finally on Friday, September 2nd will be the junior activity day. They're going to be doing the rope course at Fresno State that day. Later on in September, there's an activity day for the freshmen and the sophomores where they typically go out to Scout Island. We'll see how that all works out as well. Next thing is community service. At UHS, we require all students to do 80 hours of community service by the end of their senior year. That can be things in the community, working and serving in different capacities, maybe at shelters, food kitchens, whatever it might be. It can also be yard work. It can't be yard work and chores at home. That's not your community, that's your home, and you should do that because it's a good thing to do as a kiddo. But working in the community is good. There are hour forms to fill out on the website. There's a Google Sheet there. Kids go to the student tile on our website. They find the forms, community service form, fill it out, and send it to us, and we'll put it in PowerSchool for them. So that's the way that's done each year, but make sure you have 80 hours by the end of the senior year is the goal. And we know it's been a challenge with COVID last year, trying to get out and do things, but we had people finding creative ways of serving, whether it be taking the neighbors' trash cans out because they were elderly, things of that nature. What you can do to help and serve is great. In terms of senior information, senior portraits are going to be happening still. We have yearbook photos for senior portraits happening on Saturday, August 21st from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So make sure you get that on your calendar. If you happen to miss that date on the 21st, we will have makeups only on the 18th, but we're trying to get them all done on the 21st because that's when most of the photographers are going to be here. They can do the yearbook photo. They can do the circle personality photo where they go in our little circles outside in our courtyard area and take some pictures there. All the pictures and ordering are done through Island Photography, and we'll push out more information through Remind and Peach Jar when it is available. If you're interested in having your senior order a class ring, cap and gown, those things are done through Graduate Services, and the website is listed there. We'll put it in the chat for you as well at gradservicesltd.com, and that's where you order your class rings and cap and gown things for later in the year. Go ahead and do it early because you're going to graduate later and don't want to worry about it in May. And finally, for seniors, the grad bash is scheduled to be at Universal Studios. Currently, it's scheduled for June 10th through 11th, and it's a 24-hour thing. Get up and drive and go and enjoy the nice long bus ride and sing along all the way down. Great fun. All right, next up.
Okay, all the fun stuff. I get to report to you all on the fun stuff. Precautions when we return to campus is what we've all been waiting for, right? Okay, so the first thing is masks are required for all indoor areas, okay? There is no opt-out, there's no exemption. Okay, so there's, yeah, we're not even going there. So if a mask cannot be worn, then a student must wear a face shield with a drape. And that is as per the California Department of Public Health and Fresno State. There is a picture up here. This is what it would look like. Kind of looks like a little bit of a beekeeper costume. And that's okay if the student needs to wear that. I think we're kind of used to wearing masks now. It's been a nice couple of months without them, but we are definitely, it is a, you know, California rule, K through 12 classrooms must wear a mask inside. If a class is outside, so for example, PE, they do not have to wear a mask, okay? And so I just put a little disclaimer there. This is actually from the California Department of Health, from the doctors from the state, saying that assessing a medical exemption or a mental condition or a disability is a medical determination, that you cannot self-attest out of that. If your student is feeling ill, please keep him or her at home. This is, you know, not one of those times where we're all trying for perfect attendance, okay? If they're not feeling well, just please keep them at home. Report the absence by calling us or emailing us. Students, staff, or anyone coming to campus need to fill out our UHS daily screening tool, and it is located on the top of our website. And so the student just clicks on that, and it is just a self-attestation form. We don't keep the data doesn't even come to us. And it just basically answers all the questions. Have you been exposed to anyone with COVID? Do you have a fever? Have you been asked to quarantine? You know, those basic questions. It gives the students a green check mark. At this time, I'm not sure if we will ask for a viewpoint of that, you know, maybe in a first period class or a second period class, but so a student will have to show that. If they don't have a cell phone, then they'll need to do that at home beforehand, okay? This is the same thing that they had to do last spring for the students coming onto campus. And for those of us that have been here on campus, we've been doing this now for a year. Extra cleaning will be done throughout the day by Fresno State. So the janitorial services through Fresno State, they do come on campus at least once throughout the day, and they clean our bathrooms for us. And any other shared spaces. So for example, here our vending room as well. And then we do have automatic hand sanitizers and air purifiers, which are very high grade, very industrial size professional air purifiers in every classroom, okay? As for the vaccine requirement, and so again, you know, this is a Fresno State requirement. We know that people have very strong opinions about this. And so this is, you know, just our information that we've been able to work with Fresno State about. So anyone who's vaccinated, they need to upload their card into our Google form, and many people have already done that. That's great, thank you. The student will also have to upload that card into their Fresno State portal. So again, for freshmen, don't panic, we'll help you do that. We'll actually help all the students do that. But the sophomores, juniors, and seniors are getting to know their Fresno State portal already. So we will help you do that. These are basically the 4 ways that a student, there are 4 choices here, okay? So if a student is vaccinated, they upload their card into the Fresno State portal. If a student says that they have a medical exemption with supporting documents, but they must take a COVID test weekly, so then this student can still take their Fresno State classes in person, but they will have to take a COVID test weekly. We have those COVID tests here at UHS. The student self-swabs, meaning that they will just take the swab and put it up their nose and swirl around a few times, put it into the tube, and then Mr. Morgan sends those off to the lab. It usually takes about 24 hours, not 2 weeks, about 24 hours to get those results back. Another way a student can also attend classes in person, and this is for Fresno State courses only, okay? These are not the classes here at UHS. A religious exemption with supporting documents, and they also must take a COVID test weekly. Or if the student has no exemptions, no testing, they will just take their courses online. So again, these have to do with their Fresno State courses. So for freshmen, there are no Fresno State courses. So this is not, these things are not required. So some of this is a little out of order, and I apologize for that. So again, UHS has COVID tests. The students will self-swab. It takes about 24 hours to get these results. So documentation for a medical exemption, that is from a certified or licensed healthcare professional that describes the medical condition. Okay, and then for a religious exemption, according to Fresno State's website, it says it's a statement that describes the applicable religious or other comparable belief that is the basis for the exemption. Okay, again, not our rules. This is from Fresno State. Okay, so this should have been the slide that went previous to that. Sorry about that. Freshmen do not need to be vaccinated because they do not have Fresno State classes. Okay, that doesn't mean that they shouldn't get vaccinated. Okay, so I'm not telling you that. So freshmen that are vaccinated, please upload your form and in preparation, because as a sophomore, you will be taking Fresno State courses. Okay, so sophomores, it was Dr. Vallis and I, the Fresno State professor that teaches the World History course, she and I spoke, and we thought it would just be easier for this fall semester to teach the class asynchronously because of the late date. And then also we didn't know how many students, how many sophomores were vaccinated. So it is our hope that there will be many sophomores that are vaccinated so that we can have an in-person World History class for the spring. So it may be that there's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class in person, and then the Tuesday, Thursday class is online. I'm not sure how it'll go. It really just depends on how many sophomores are vaccinated. It can't be an uneven class, like we can't have 100 in one and 30 in the other. So we would have to balance it out and do about half and half. So again, we really have to just see what the numbers are. So again, we just chose to make it asynchronous, so it would just be across the board, and we would allow more time for sophomores to get vaccinated. For juniors, if a junior student is not vaccinated and there's no medical or religious exemption or weekly tested, then these language classes are often offered virtually, meaning that they can take the class online. And this is their Fresno State class: Spanish, French, Italian, Chinese, and Japanese. And I believe that there's a German class as well that's offered virtually. The other class that a junior takes is our biology class, but that's taught here on our campus by one of our teachers, so they wouldn't need to worry about that. For seniors, again, if seniors are unvaccinated and there's no medical or religious exemption and they're not doing the weekly testing, then they can take CSci 39, which is computer science. They can take that asynchronously in the spring. So in the spring semester, we're going to offer that class as a, it'll actually be virtual synchronous. So it'll be a virtual class in the spring semester, or they can take an ethnic studies class if there's one that's offered online. And so they'd have to get with their counselor to see what we can fit in their schedule. Right now, we have just about every senior figured out what class they're going to be in. As you can imagine, the seniors are older, and so we do have more of them vaccinated than we do the younger students. So we have them just about figured out. Okay, so I know that's a lot of information. Let me keep going a little bit more and then we'll answer some questions, okay? So students should upload a copy of their vaccination card to the link, and this is not on our website yet, but it will be. It was on the form that I sent out last week on the email. And then, or it can be emailed. You can email it to me. I had a parent email me her daughter's card, and I just uploaded it to the form. But Ellie Palomo is our registrar. If you could just email it to her, attach the card, and we'll upload it into the form for you. And then, as I stated before, students will also need to upload their vaccination card or their medical exemption documents into their Fresno State portal. And that has to be done by September 30th. But again, we'll help students do that through their Fresno State portal. Okay, so now is where it gets a little even more complicated. And I put on this slide here, when, not if, but when, because it will happen, when a student contracts COVID, okay? This is what will happen. First of all, please let us know here in the office so that we can implement contact tracing and notify teachers for work to give to that student. UHS does have COVID tests for students. So if the student's not feeling well and you just want to check, come to our office or let us know, and we can do the self swab really fast. And like we said, we get the results back within 24 hours. So the student must isolate at home until 10 days since the symptoms first appeared and 24 hours with no fever, and that's without using any medication that is a fever reducer. Okay, and the symptoms have improved. Any student that has been exposed to the student with COVID, so if the student is fully vaccinated, if asymptomatic, no quarantine is necessary. And that's the great part right here. I saw earlier on a question, is there a chance that the school could shut down again? And if we have many students vaccinated and we reach that herd immunity, we will not be shutting down. And that's the thing that I really want to impress upon parents out there, is that I really think that it could, with this Delta variant, now they talked about a Lambda one, and I'm like, oh gosh, what's coming next? I could really foresee in the future that, especially with larger schools around us, that they could be shutting down. But because we have so many students that are vaccinated, and we have the proof of that coming through the form upload, that our students are vaccinated, so we won't have to shut down. Because if you're vaccinated and you are exposed to someone, you don't have to go home and quarantine. We don't have to shut down, okay? So if you're fully vaccinated and you are symptomatic, then you need to take a COVID test. And then we recommend you go to the doctor, and then you can return to school when you're symptom free for just 24 hours, okay? If you're not fully vaccinated or not vaccinated at all, then if there was unmasked contact with the infected person, let's say they were outside at lunch and they didn't have masks on, then the student must quarantine for 10 full days if they don't take a test. Or if they do take a test, they could come back after 7 days if they have a negative test result. Okay, if there was mass contact with an infected person, the person enters a modified quarantine. If symptomatic, they must test twice weekly. They cannot participate in any extracurricular activities, meaning that if they are, let's say, running cross country or playing on a basketball team or something like that. Okay, so I know this is like super complicated. When you see this next slide, you're going to be like, pulling out the glasses to look at it. This is the slide given to us from the County Office of Education. I mean, I can't even put my glasses on and read it. It's so tiny. So what we can do is put this on our website so you can see all of the different versions. But basically, this I think is what really should impress upon you. If the student is fully vaccinated and they're exposed, and again, it's going to happen. So, let's be realistic. It will happen. If they're asymptomatic, they don't have to quarantine because they're vaccinated. Okay. But if they do get some symptoms, we'll give them a COVID test. And then as soon as they're feeling symptom free, they can come back to school. But if they're not vaccinated, then they're going home for 10 days. Okay. And so we won't be Zooming. We'll be giving you some packets of work to do, okay? So I know that was tons of information. I can just imagine what the questions are looking like. I can see them popping up here in the corner of my eye here, okay? Let's try to answer. Do you guys want to read them, or what do you want me to do here?
I think the biggest question is about performing groups and masks. And there was a lot of questions regarding what those are going to look like. So I think a general statement about that would be great.
Yes, I know there was one from a while back too about music and choir. And I wish I had the exact answer for you. And unfortunately I don't. And that is because we have been waiting for guidelines from the state since June. And they keep saying they're coming, they're coming. What I can tell you is we have, I just signed the requisition, and I know Jen, our office manager, ordered them today. We've spent a couple $1,000s on special music masks, which are basically a mask with a little slit in it that they can put the instrument in, and then also covers that go on the end of instruments. So Dr. Cornelison has purchased enough for every instrument type, and enough for every instrument for all of the types that we have. So we definitely will be playing outside when we can. Obviously, we know when it's hot. And we might even at the beginning of school, it'll be like, okay, everyone go home and work on this, because we can't be, everyone playing music together at the same time. Probably the first week or two of school will definitely be, getting to know one another and just kind of doing things like that, and not actually playing instruments, or maybe having one person play and others listen, so it'll definitely be modified at first until we get those guidelines. I think, maybe state lawmakers are used to school starting on the Tuesday after Labor Day. And it's like, no, we all start in August now. So again, we don't have those exact rules that we are to follow. So we are doing our best and doing what we think is right by being protective with masks and instrument covers. Let's see, I see answers. Yeah, so the question is, since world history is async, and just as a little caveat for that, so the way that the professor puts out that information, I think she goes Sunday to Sunday, or it might be Monday to Sunday. She pushes out the information and then it's not due for a whole week. So the student can work on it at any time. They don't have to do it during that first period. So yes, the student does not have to be on campus. The sophomore student does not have to be on campus until second period, which is like 8:55 or 8:53 or whatever it is. And so sure, if they don't have to, if you don't have to come early in the morning, save it and beat the rush, come at like 8:45 and you will save yourself a big headache. So yes, they do not have to be on campus during that time. And we actually, if we recommend that they're not, because we don't have a classroom for them, they just kind of hang out outside, which is nice. The mornings are cool. They have tables that they can hang out. But if they don't have to be here, then definitely don't send them here until closer to second period. Are all teachers vaccinated? Our staff, so that includes staff, music coaches, office, classified, certificated, 99% of everyone at UHS is vaccinated. School supply list for freshmen.
We don't really have one, but most teachers at back to school night in their course syllabus will be letting families know what is expected or needed. But for the most part, if they just want to get some standard things like pencils they like, or every student is different. Some kids love binders with the separators, some kids like those accordions. I mean, we've seen it all here. It's really what works for the student. But most, like other materials or things, you may need a lab journal for freshmen. They usually need a lab notebook, so one of those notebook types. So Dr. Getman will be giving that information at back to school night. So if you're attending back to school night, you'll get that information, and even you'll have plenty of time after the first day of school to get any supplies suggested. So
a couple of questions about, is it likely UHS may shut down, or if a number of students are getting affected by COVID and its variants, would it be safer to shut down? If a certain number are affected here, we have to report to the Fresno County Health Department, and they could tell us, yes, you have to shut down. So that would be out of our hands. So sure, we could have to do that. It is our hope that we don't have to. Again, we have a large number of students that have already sent in their vaccination cards. And so, I'm hoping that we wouldn't have to, but it's definitely a possibility that we would have to. What percentage are vaccinated? I can't give you that number yet because I don't think everyone has filled out or sent in their vaccination cards yet. So we're over 50%. I can tell you that as of this point thus far. Let's see here. How will students get their teacher syllabus so that they can prepare? Students won't get the syllabus until the first day of school. That's what the teachers usually go over on the first day, is the syllabus. Where can I send my vaccine card? You can just email it to me if you want, or to Mrs. Palomo, epalomo@csufresno.edu. Freshman family, we'll explain more for a freshman group if you can hold on, but we do not recommend Chromebooks because they have trouble getting onto the Fresno State Wi-Fi. So if you are going to buy a computer, we wouldn't recommend a Chromebook if they're going to bring their computer to school. Okay, we do have 5 laptop carts, meaning 30 or 45 station laptop carts, and that's usually what the teachers check out and have in their classroom. So if they say, okay, students, we're going to start writing an essay, then they provide the laptops for the students to start writing or doing whatever it might be. So a laptop is not mandatory or anything like that. Yeah, you know, good. How will classes work when freshmen and sophomores are together and freshmen not required to vaccinate? The only classes that a freshman and sophomore might have together is math. Besides that, there's no other class that they have together, but then, or besides performing groups as well. But in every class, students have to be masked. And so, as we know, and we hear on the news all the time that masking is like the #1 thing that that a person can do to prevent the passage of COVID. Why is outdoor masking not required? So it is, the latest news has been that outside there is enough airflow that students don't have to wear a mask outdoors. It may change, but at this time, when they're outdoors, they don't have to wear a mask. Obviously, encourage your son or daughter, if you'd like them, to continue to wear a mask. I will not be releasing the data at this time because it's just not accurate yet. So about how many are vaccinated. Okay. All right. Yeah, so a question about, can you take an asynchronous Fresno State class? Yes, and I think that that's something to know, because a great question there. The question is, can I take an asynchronous Fresno State class even if I am vaccinated? And yes, for sure, because we don't want it to be like the haves and the have-nots, and the, someone has a vaccinated V on their chest or something, or whatever, because students take asynchronous classes all the time. For example, the French class is offered in person or asynchronous. So let's say that the student's running late that day and they're taking it in the car as you're driving to school. You can just have them be online in the car, and the professor is teaching it through something called HiFlex. And she's teaching it that way purposefully so that the student can be in the classroom or online. The Italian classes are, all of the Italian classes are being taught virtually. They're not on campus at all. The Chinese and Japanese classes are being taught virtually. They're synchronous, meaning at that specific time, but they're taught virtually. So I really think there's going to be this flow of some are in person, some are online, and there's going to be kids that are vaccinated, not vaccinated, in both classes at all the time. It's complicated, yes, but it will have a flow to it that the kids are like, oh yeah, I'm vaccinated, but I have this class, so it should, they'll get used to it. And I think it's many times it's the adults that we put these, these layers on it, but the kids really go with the flow on a lot of it. Okay. What else can we answer? I believe the Fresno State bookstore is open. Can maybe someone Google or check online and see that? Can seniors take extra classes at UHS? If you're talking about Fresno State extra classes, the answer is yes, but it has to fit in your schedule. And we will just tell you the schedule is very complicated. It's very tight. You will not be able to move this class. Oh, I want to move this so I can take this class over here. So work with your counselors and we'll see what we can do. Do students have to wear a mask during PE? Not when they are outside. required to be separated at lunch? No, you are not. We always recommend keeping a safe distance. And obviously, if you are feeling any sort of anxiety or anything and you would like to keep distance anyway from another student, then definitely do so. If a student won't get the second dose until August 28th, would the student need to do the daily testing until the second dose is done? You are definitely welcome to take advantage of our free testing service. If that would make you feel more comfortable, you totally can. You don't have to, because the guidelines are set up by September 30th is when everything is technically due through Fresno State, but definitely it would be a great thing to take advantage of, just to have that weekly testing. Then you know that you're safe and on all of that. PE classes will be largely outdoors, yes. Okay. Some will be indoors though, especially for the freshmen with Mr. Hagan. He does a lot of inside workouts, and so they will be wearing masks for those. Yeah, I'm not sure if this person asking this question might be a new parent, new to us. With the California wildfires and horrible air on top of Mass, how will PE classes look like? Our PE teachers are, I can't speak tonight, sorry. PE teachers are wonderful. They always give the student the chance to opt out. If they say, if you are not feeling it for a run today, you do it another time and you send us your run, because they measure it by their watch, or by holding their phone or whatever. So they always give a student the chance to opt out, to do it when it's cooler, to do it when they're feeling better. So definitely. And we watch, our PE teachers check the air every single day, usually every period, especially when the air is heavy and not healthy as it's been lately. Okay. Yes, a daily screening is required for all vaccinated students as well. Thank you. That's a great question. As I said, we've all been filling it out for the past year, and it even says on there, please answer these if you're vaccinated or not. There might possibly be some laptops available. So please check in. We check in with Mr. Morgan, send him an email, and we'll see if we have any. We may or may not. No discount on parking passes. Sorry, I see Mrs. Bird's answering that. Sorry, I'm like looking at the questions on the right here. Okay. How about we stick on here for we'll give a 5-minute break, everybody a stretch break. We'll stay on here for some questions, and then we'll get started with our freshman presentation here, because it's already been an hour. I feel so bad taking this much time for all of you, but we do want to answer all of your questions. So we will get, it's 7:12. How about 7:17? We will get started with our freshman presentation. Thank you all for coming. For those of you that are going to leave us, thank you all. Please join us next week at 5:30. Okay, you'll come, you'll get your student schedule, and then first period starts at 5:40, and then the classes are about 10 minutes long each period. Okay, so you'll be done here about 7:25 or so. Okay. Let me go back a few slides and I'll show you what the screening tool looks like. Oops. There you go. This is what the screening tool looks like. And then you just answer these questions. This says, have you experienced any COVID symptoms? No. Has anyone asked you to quarantine or isolate? No. I'll do all these things, wash my hands, wear a face covering, etc. And then it gives you a check mark. So it's pretty simple. Okay. Okay, so freshman parents, we will get started with you guys in just a few minutes. So someone has said their Zoom lagged off, so please stick around with us if you, for freshman parents, but if you feel like you want to gain some more information, and then we're just basically kind of going over the info, but a little bit in more detail. There will not be a senior meeting at back to school night. And we will not have a virtual. This was the virtual back to school night. So, yep, you don't have to come till second period if you're a sophomore. Where to go to fill out the forms. Okay, which
The forms won't be up there until you do your parent portal access. So once we open the parent portal, you'll be able to fill out forms. You'll go to the UHS website, and we'll sit on information as well.
it looks like this. It will look like this. So you'll go to our website, you'll click on the box that says parent portal. I think it says Power School portal or something like that. Then you'll enter the Power School username and password, and we're going to teach freshman parents how to do that. On the left side, it says forms, and then you just click on each link to update the forms. Okay. Fresno State classes start on Monday, August 23rd. MODA this year is going to be on campus. We're not going to hold it at Soroyan, so more info to come on that.
As far as what I could see too, Kendall Bookstore is open.
I thought it was, but
Yeah, from 7:30 to 6, Monday through Thursday, and 7:30 to 5 on Fridays. So
great. Okay. All right. 7:17. We're doing okay, parents, freshman parents. You hold in there with us, hopefully. Okay, let me get back to the right spot here. Okay, freshman parents, here we go. This is for you.
Here we go.
Because we know it is difficult being a freshman parent, especially if this is your first time that your son or daughter is going to high school. So thank you so much for sending your son or daughter to school with us. We are, we're a different type of school. And, it's a big jump from junior high to high school. It's a huge jump into UHS because the work here is pretty rigorous, but we feel like we have so many things set up to help your son or daughter be successful. And we want to help you with that transition. So again, here's our names here and our emails. Most everybody is their first initial last name. Some people, like Mr. Morgan, he's AE Morgan. Mrs. Fernandez, she's for COF. So, they're all a little different, but they're all on our website. And again, Mrs. Felger's is J. Felger. Okay. Here are some other VIPs here on our campus. These people here help us run this place. We like to joke that, we are our own, I shouldn't joke because it's the truth, our own place here. We just do it all. We don't have this big HR, you can't call HR for this. Like we're HR, you know, we do all these things ourselves. So Mrs. Troner Merritt, she's our office manager. Mrs. Palomo's our registrar, and our registrar for a high school is very important because she's the one that keeps the academic records, and the students, especially the seniors, will get to know her because they need their transcripts sent off to colleges. Miss Maggie Davis is our front desk and attendance. Miss Aubrey Durtarosian is also front desk and attendance. And then Mr. Michael Bird is our technology specialist. So this is our support staff here that are very, very helpful to all of us. Okay.
So just to kind of go over a little bit more about the counselor's role, counseling here is very different than other schools. Usually large schools don't have as much interaction between counselor to student. They help with the schedule changes, and that's about the extent. Sometimes they do some other things in terms of some college preparation and assisting students with that piece. But we do quite a bit here, being that our caseload is 250 to 1, that we split that counseling caseload, and we stay with every student all 4 years. So we end up being their counselor all 4 years. Really helps us build that one-on-one individual relationship. So every year our students do get individualized counseling services, kind of in these 3 areas. So academic advising. So we do meet with students on a regular basis in terms of their grades. If we should see a student is maybe struggling academically, we will reach out to the student, to the parent to see what's going on. Is there a way we can support them? Maybe they're having trouble and need assistance with study skills, time management, organization. So we try to help as much as we can to figure out why is the student maybe not performing well, and then provide the resources and support. We also do social and emotional counseling. So if a student is having a bad day, or maybe there was a loss in the family or something else, a problem with a friend, students can come see us for those sort of, counseling issues that may help, that they need someone to talk to and bounce some ideas off, or, try to come up with some solutions to maybe a problem that they're having. We also do refer out for mental health services. We actually do have a mental health counselor. It comes once a week, every Friday. It's through All for Youth. So she actually does do therapy appointments with our students. So we do make referrals. And so if you feel that your son or daughter or child needs more support than what we can provide, we do make referrals to All for Youth, and they meet with those students. We also do a lot of career and college advising, and that starts freshman year all the way through senior year. So by the time they get to senior year, they may have an idea of what they want to do in the future, what college they want to go to do that at, and so forth. So we really guide them through the entire 4 years, helping them tease out what careers may be possible for them, what colleges seem to be, the best options for them. We do have a 4-year counseling program. We use Naviance, and you might have heard me say that earlier in this presentation, that Naviance is a web-based platform that all of our students will have an account for. So the freshmen will be getting an account for this as well. The focus of freshman year, since this is a 4-year curriculum, is really who am I? So we're really trying to get the freshmen to figure out who am I as a person, as a friend, as a student. So they will be doing different assessments to help them kind of read about themselves, identify things about themselves, which will then gear them to different careers and college options that they may be looking at based on their own personality and interests. We do monthly journal writes. So we come into the classroom, and throughout the freshman year, they will have a monthly journal that they will write in Naviance. So it is, it's through technology. It's not them actually handwriting, but we give them prompts that are actually related to the personal statements that they will write their senior year for colleges. And we do that because here at UHS, we have found that our students really don't like to write about themselves. They like to write about books and the things that they read, but they have a hard time really being open about who they are. And that's exactly what colleges want to see. They want to see what they're most passionate about, what their interests are, what do they do with their free time. So we give them little monthly journals that they will write to help them keep kind of this long reference of themselves. So by the time they get to that senior year, they can pull from that to help them write those personal statements later on. We also do a lot of in-class visits and presentations, as well as training them on how to use the Naviance platform. So all those things happen every year, as well as individual conferences. So we provide an individual sophomore conference, junior conference, and senior conference. For freshman year, we do a combined conference with the freshmen. So it's usually myself and Mrs. Fernandez, as well as Mrs. Hickman and Mr. Morgan, and we will meet together in small groups, usually with the freshmen. So that is sort of our role as the counselor. And the next slide. So we do have our peer mentors, and this is a program that I've been running since I've been here for 15 years. And essentially, I take our juniors and seniors that apply for this leadership position on our campus, and I assign them every year a group of freshmen. So every freshman will have 3 to 4 peer mentors, and these will be the people that they will meet on Monday at our orientation day that will assist them. And not just on orientation day, but they are trained to support support the incoming freshmen throughout the entire school year. So they will be providing them academic support, social support, whatever they may need. And what's nice is that our orientation, we get them in small groups so they get a chance to meet other students, because we pull from 40 different zip codes. And so these students really, and especially being online for over a year and a half for most of them, that is our focus this year, is to get these students back to being social again and not through a computer screen. So my mentors are going to take the lead on that and build these relationships and get them to build relationships with other freshmen at that orientation day. We also hold monthly activities. So for the peer mentors, they will meet with the freshmen once a month and do a fun activity. So like our first one is that Friday, we're going to get them ice cream. So we're going to get the mentors with the freshmen and have some ice cream and just catch up. How was the first week of school? How are you feeling? How are things going? But we do an activity every month with the freshmen and the peer mentors. And then my peer mentors will be checking in bi-weekly with their mentees throughout the year as well. So freshman orientation day, which is again Monday, August 16th. Check-in is at 8:30. And again, you're welcome to stay during that check-in process. And like Mrs. Felger said, there will be coffee and treats for you in the small band room, or no, the choir room, where you can meet and greet with other parents, freshman parents. But during the check-in, students will be, going through, and they'll be picking up their planner. They'll be turning in any paperwork, the annual donation. They'll be getting their schedule and their locker. So when they come out of that room, my mentors will be there waiting. You will see all of them. They'll have a big folder with the number, and on their planner, every student's planner will be the group number they will be assigned to. And they'll get a chance to meet their peer mentors, and their peer mentors will help them go find their locker. And then Mrs. Hickman will do a welcome. We'll also have our ASB officers do a welcome, introduce teachers. And then they will go off into the classrooms. And in the classroom, the peer mentor will be doing different activities with them. They will be taking their ID pictures, so they may want to look nice for the day. They're going to do a campus tour, not only just UHS and really showing them everything here on campus, but also Fresno State's campus as well. They'll be going through the student handbook, which is part of their planner, and just getting them a chance to get to know each other and other activities. Lunch will be provided by Phoenix Alliance. So usually we do Subway sandwiches, they get chips, cookie, drink. If your child should have any problems with that type of lunch, they're welcome to pack their own lunch too. You don't have to, but we are going to provide all the students a lunch that day. After that, we are going to be walking over to Maya Theater. We have reserved our own private room to watch and view The Jungle Cruise, which is a new movie that just came out. So the peer mentors, again, with the freshmen, will be going over. Normally we go to the bowling alley, but on campus, but Fresno State is not opening the bowling alley to the public. So we are not allowed to be in there this year, unfortunately, but at least we get Maya Theater for students. students. And then pickup would be at 3:15, because by the time we walk back, and we will have adults chaperoning as well on our venture over to Campus Point.
Oh, alrighty. Going to introduce the teachers. What's really great about UHS is you're going to know all your teachers really well, and everyone has the same teachers. So it makes the scheduling really easy on our part. Dr. Getman is our physics teacher, and he's a wonderful, wonderful teacher that your kids are absolutely going to love getting to know him. And his style of teaching is just fantastic. Mr. Hagan teaches our PE classes, and it's going to be not just working out PE, but also learning about yourself, your body, and making healthy lifestyle choices, which is fantastic as well. Mrs. Hill will be your English 9 teacher, helping you get through your 12 of the 48 books. So hopefully your kids have been reading those this summer, so they're ready to roll when they walk in there. And you'll get your first introduction to Latin with Mrs. Ibrahim as well, who will get your kids off and rolling in the Latin world, understanding things that I have no idea what they're talking about. I've seen it written on like cards and symbols and signs. I should probably go learn something in our class this year with your kids as well. And of course, Mr. Jones is going to be teaching musicianship with your kids, who the kids absolutely love. He is just a ton of fun. He's here nice and early every morning playing on his piano, and the kids look forward to being in his class every single day. So those are a lot of your freshman teachers. You also have math teachers. Now, math teachers vary depending upon which math course your student is in. But we have Mrs. Hayden, who's going to be teaching IM1, which is Math 1 for most incoming freshmen who were in Math 8 last year. She also teaches AP Calculus and is our department chair. You probably received a lot of emails from her this summer in relation to the summer work and the website and the videos to watch to help get your kids ready for this upcoming school year. If you haven't gone on a Google Classroom yet, please make sure your kids are on there, because there's some important documents and videos and things to watch and do to help them be ready for next week. There you go. Mr. Mondragon is doing IM1 and IM2. Again, those are great courses there. IM1 is the first high school course. IM2 is the second high school course. So if they were in an advanced math class last year at their 8th grade class or an algebra class, they're probably going to IM2. Mr. Murillo also teaches IM2 as well as AP Stats, which they'll take their senior year. And our advanced math course is taught by Mrs. Roach. That's often a course taken by many sophomores and juniors following IM2. And then we have our performing arts teachers. We again have Mr. Jones, who covers our musicianship classes 1 and 2. He's a department chair and oversees our string ensembles. Dr. Knellison oversees our orchestra groups and our band groups. So if you're in concert band, you're going to be with Dr. Knellison and his team. Dr. Moore oversees our choirs and the various choirs that are happening there. And then Mrs. McKnight oversees drama 1 and 2. All of our performing arts classes are during 7th period. So they're going to have their academic classes 1 through 6, and 7th period is when they take their performing group class. For drama, you'll have an opportunity to sign up for a drama class when you come to registration with Ms. McKnight, where you can sign up for beginning drama with her on that day. Okay, we've talked a little bit about the parent portal as already a little bit early in the session. We're going to send you guys an email with directions and links where we'll give you your username and your access password, your ID, so you can access the parent side of PowerSchool. On that portal there is where you get all information about your students' classes, as well as a chance for you to update your information that goes into our system so that we can contact you. If you need help with that, on the next slide, just go to the UHS website and uhsfresno.com. You'll click on the parents tile again, which if you scroll down, you'll see the big Phoenix there. You'll find the parent tile. And in there, you'll find a link for parent portal access. There's actually a video there as well. And there's a list of steps that you can follow to make sure you can get your account set up the right way. And again, if you need help, just give us a call. We can walk you through it over the phone. Our office gals are always ready to help you with that as well.
One thing here, Mr. Morgan, if I can jump in,
Yep.
You'll get your access code, okay? And so that's not your password. So you'll go on where it says create account, and you have to create the account, okay? And so you'll put in the student name, and that means your son or daughter's name, and then the access ID and the access password. So that's what you're going to be sent, is that access. So it's linking you to your student. It's not, that's your password, okay? Then you'll create your username and password, okay?
Gotcha.
Mrs. Hernandez, can you do some?
All right, so let me talk a little bit about our schedule, and Mr. Morgan basically just described it a little bit more, but our classes do start at 7:55 sharp. Like Mrs. Hickman said, please make sure you are here on time. The classes run for about 55 minutes, and you can see here that students go from period to period up until 11:55 when they have their lunch. And then they move on to period 6 and 7. Most of our students finish their classes at either 3 or 4 p.m., depending on their performing groups and or if they signed up for drama. And so our academic classes are periods 1 through 6, and then their performing groups are during 7th period from 2 to 2:55. Let's see, they can sign up for drama next Monday during orientation. And then one more thing, they do have classes that don't meet every day, like PE and musicianship. So they alternate days and they share the Fridays. So students will get a little bit more used to the schedule once they start their classes here. And then the next slide basically talks about our tutoring center. So the AASC is our academic support center, and it is a great resource for our students. We actually hire our own UHS students to help assist and tutor our current students. So I would say please encourage your child to utilize this resource, especially if they are struggling or they need any support. Our tutoring center is open Monday through Thursday after school from 3 to 5 in room 105. More information will be provided on our bulletin, which actually takes me to our next slide. Our bulletin can be found on our UHS website. And I know we mentioned earlier different types of communication, but our bulletin has tons of information. Here you can see any announcements we post. Also remember that our website, uhsfresno.com, has tons of information, and we use Remind. Peach Jar, on the other hand, is a platform that we use to send out digital flyers. And so you don't need to have an account with Peach Jar, but you will be receiving these flyers from us to your email. And actually, it comes from University High School. The subject always says one school announcement or opportunity for your child. So make sure you are opening these emails, because that's how we are sending our digital flyers. All righty, next slide is our lunch options. This was something that a lot of parents and students were asking about in the Q&A. So we want to encourage you to bring your own lunch during the first weeks of school, especially to avoid the Fresno State lines during the first weeks. Food options at Fresno State include Panda Express, Taco Bell, Subway, there's Starbucks. You can even go to the residence dining hall on Fresno State's campus. It is a buffet style on Fridays. However, Fresno State is requiring everyone on their campus to be vaccinated. So students who do not have the vaccine will not be able to go to the food court and eat on Fresno State's campus. So our freshman students will have to stay here if they don't have the vaccine. Although we do offer lunch options here on campus. So we offer cold lunches for our free and reduced lunch students. We also have a beautiful vending room filled with different snack options. Our food is packaged daily. I know we have sandwiches, muffins. I know they put milk in there, and it's filled every morning. And our vending room has microwaves. I know there was a couple questions about microwaves. So we do have a couple microwaves in our vending room. We also have a ice machine, and we have a filtered water system, which also students can have the option for hot water. I know a lot of students do soups and things like that. Let's see.
One thing, if I can jump in there really fast, Mrs. Fernandez, we actually just found this out, that we received the approval from the state and federal lunch programs that any student that wants lunch can get the same lunch that, you know, previously was offered to our free and reduced lunch students. However, we would just need to know that. And so a student would just need to come and let the office know, you know, hi, I'm Jeffy. I need to, you know, I want to have free lunch every day. And then we just need to put you on the list so we know how many to order. Currently, we've been ordering about 15 lunches a day. So if we need to raise that number, because we order them through Fresno County EOP and they get delivered every morning. So if we need to order more of those, we need to know. Okay, so again, everyone can get a free lunch. And so let's say they just forgot their lunch that morning, they can come by and say, I forgot my lunch, can I get a free lunch? And if we have extras, we can definitely give them one that, you know, just for that day. But if they want to be on that list that they're getting a free lunch every day, then have your student come by the office or even call our office and we'll get you on that list so that we know to order more lunches.
Thank you. I was about to say that about our free lunches.
Sorry about
So,
that.
no, it's okay. And then I guess we can move on to our next slide.
One more
regarding-
thing about that, just in terms of food options, students are not allowed to leave our campus in terms of crossing a major street. So they're not allowed to go to the 7-Eleven on the corner of Maple and Shaw. They're not allowed to go across, which is no longer Deli Delicious. I don't know what happened there, but it's just the deli now. And there's a Starbucks. They're not allowed to cross any major streets. They can't go to Campus Point until they are older. So, and they have a 2-hour lunch because sometimes going and walking over to Campus Point, as the students will see, it does take a while and they don't have enough time to get a lunch and come back and make it to class on time. They need at least a 2-hour window, and only our seniors typically get a 2-hour, if that, a window possibility. So.
Yeah, and usually we don't have a problem. Oh, sorry, I'm in my office. My lights turned off. So usually we don't have a problem with our students leaving campus, but that is a requirement. They have to stay here. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about pickup and parking. So here we have a map of our designated pickup options. We would like to ask parents to coordinate with their child and have a predetermined pickup point within the campus and actually within the parking lots. Usually the first week it's a little bit hectic. A lot of students walk a little bit further out in the parking lot to get picked up because it's a lot easier to get in and get out this way. There are a couple of spots where parents can't wait for their child, and you could see where it says no loading, which is right next to the Smith Camp Alumni House, and then also right behind our school there's a parking lot. It's P4 and it's right behind us, and parents are not allowed to pick up their children on the back side. Remember that Fresno State campus police will be patrolling the area, and they are not afraid to give you a citation. You will also need a parking pass to park in designated parking lots. There are a couple of, there is a machine where you could buy a day parking if you like. And we do offer parking codes if we have events here on campus. So we will send that out. But if you are here, students are, they're freshmen, so I don't think any of them will be driving at the moment. But if you do come to campus, you will need to find a parking spot. There's also a couple of visitor parkings behind our school or on this side. We please ask parents to leave those available for visitors that are coming in and out of the office. If you are waiting for your child, we ask that you pick up your child in a designated pickup point and not in our visitor parking. And I think that's it with parking and pickup. I don't know if you guys have any other insights. The first week is a little bit hectic, but once you get your routine, it gets a lot easier.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Fernandez. That's wonderful advice. Let me just tell you, I didn't even have words when I was told that some parents were fighting in the parking lot one day about pickup. So please, be patient. It is crowded. It's usually crowded, before school, and then about 3 o'clock when parents are picking up freshmen. We are here at the office until 5 every day, but we keep the bathrooms. The bathrooms don't automatically lock, and the vending room doesn't automatically lock until about 5:30 or so. And then if you're going to be later than that, you can have your student walk over to the Fresno State Library as well. And so, there are areas, other places, especially in the wintertime when it gets dark fast, it's dark by like 4:30, then you might want to have them walk over there to that area while it's still light, and then wait for you there if you're going to be much later than 5 o'clock. But definitely, please don't go around to the back. A lot of people think, oh, go around to the back and beat the crowd back there, but that's where the Fresno State Police are waiting for you. So, and because that's where staff parks back there, not just us, UHS staff, but Joelle and other professors and everything. So they really get mad at us and they call us and say, your parents are parking back there, you're in the way. And so please don't drop off there, drop off in the front here. And we do have drop off lanes. And if everybody could just get in the lane and follow along, it goes a lot faster.
Someone asked about bike parking, just to go back. I don't know if you can see it on the picture, but there's some in the front of our school, like kind of on that back side. Yeah, like right where she's pointing there. And we also have as well a skateboard rack as well that I believe still there that you can lock up skateboards. But we do not want students riding bikes or skateboards on campus, and make sure they're locking it up. So it's not our students that steal from each other, it's random people that may come onto campus. So it's really important they always keep their belongings with them. I once chased someone stealing one of our students' backpack, ran after the guy. Luckily he got scared of me because I'm so vicious, and he dropped the backpack. But it does happen. Our students think that, no one's going to take my stuff. And so it's not that they have to worry about other students. It's really these random people that do kind of come to campus, and not just us, but Fresno State.
And what Mrs. Bird said is exactly true. And they have guts. We have seen them on campus. They go into a building sometimes. They've come right here by the office where a student set his backpack right by the office door. And someone came right on campus and saw this big heavy one, put it on, and walked away. So please tell your students not to leave their belongings on campus, and also to lock their lockers. I mean, we walk by and we lock lockers as we go along. They tend to think this is like a little utopia, that everyone's so nice and nobody, steals from one another. And that's true, that we have zero theft here, zero. But people come on campus that are not UHS students, and they do get things stolen. So definitely true. I do want to just show you our website and just maneuver around that just real quick. I know we've been on here a super long time, so sorry about that. Here's the tiles that we've been talking about. And so you can just click on a tile and it goes to a different site. So for example, parents, this is your tile. And then you go on here and there's different things here. Remind, parent portal access. Here's our calendar, peach jar, different things like that. Students here, courses. If you go to courses, here is where you could go to all of the teachers' websites. Here we actually have, we have a link to our academic support center. Here is something that our counselors created, the virtual calming room here. Parents, feel free to use this if you need it, okay? There are sounds and music, guided meditation, yoga, animal cameras if you're into just watching the little animals, coloring, apps, podcasts, puzzles, get all sorts of things, because we know that the mental health and anxiety for students, especially during this last year, was really, really something that we are aware of, and we are trying to help them through everything as much as we can. So that is a site for them too, site for you as well. Also on our website is our calendar. So a question earlier was, where do I get a parking code? Anytime that we ask you to come on campus, we try to get you a parking code. Truthfully, they had some retirements, and so their little slogan is parking code. So normally we have them all for you already. But for example, for next week, we have back to school night, you'll just click on this or hover over it, and oh, it's already there. See, parking code, and the parking code's there. So when you come to the kiosk, you put in this number and it gives you the little ticket, you put it on your dash, and you don't have to pay for parking. And trust me, if you think, oh, I'll just be here for a little bit, I won't get a ticket. Trust me, you get a ticket, and it's $50. So put that, write that code down, or like I said, we put them on our calendar here as soon as we get them, and we try to get them way far in advance. We might even have them for the whole semester, and we'll load them up as soon as we get them. Okay, for freshman orientation, I don't know if we have, yep, we have that same, looks like parking code for freshman orientation. That must just be the daily code. Yep, for sophomore orientation. If there's any parents that are parents of sophomores as well, and you're going to come that day, here's the parking code as well. Okay, so we try to load everything up on our website. Anything that's happening for school, for parents, we put it on our website, and that's how you check that out. Okay. And other things here, our media tab, just that's where we put our different videos of things, our school board tab here, bulletin. I think we're going to send out the daily bulletin only once a week this week or this year. Our counselors here have just tons of information here for you. They spend a lot of time just going through just tons of information for you. So definitely check out their site here that gives you all sorts of information for your son or daughter while they're here at UHS. Okay, so hopefully that gave you more information for you. We're here still if you have questions. I know it's been almost close to 2 hours. Sorry about that. But we do want to answer any questions for you. So any more questions? There's a question about the annual donation. It is $700, but it's a donation. Any amount, any form of donation, if you can. If you can't, totally okay. We appreciate any amount that you can give. And Mrs. Joanna Felger is the person to contact for that. Oh, can we talk about dress code? Yes, we do like to joke and say they must wear clothes. Please send them in clothes. But our dress code is very lax compared to other schools. We have students with purple hair and they wear flip-flops and all of that. But just make sure that they're dressed so that they're covered. So, probably the main thing with girls is that their midriff is showing, and we don't want that. It's not great when their bra straps and stuff are showing. And the other thing too with guys lately has been their like the whole side of their shirt. It's almost like a workout shirt is that they would wear at the gym where the whole side is cut out. So we'll go and tell them to get another shirt. But I don't know if all of you know, but I previously was the vice principal here. And so in my 8 years as the vice principal, we'd have some dress code things, but it was never a disciplinary action. It was more like, that shirt's not really working. Let's get you another shirt. I'd say, just go find another shirt. And then they just go find another shirt. It's not a so much of a disciplinary action here. It's just like, yeah, it's just not going to work. And so I don't write them up. It was like, yeah, it's not going to work. Let's go find you another shirt. Obviously, if it was something that continued to be a problem, then, we might have to contact you. But most of the time it was like, yeah, that's just not going to work. And then they understand that. The thing that's one of the great things about UHS is students don't like to get in trouble here. So they don't like to come to the office. And so it's usually doesn't have to be a long drawn out conversation or a big thing. We can just say, can you find another shirt? And they do. So really for dress code, we don't have a lot of issues because we are on a college campus. So they are going to wear flip-flops. Someone's going to have purple hair. But it is very casual. I'd say the students don't dress up. They're pretty casual and wear shorts and flip-flops throughout the year, most of the time. We do on Fridays, we try to get students to wear UHS clothes and college shirts because we are kind of a college going atmosphere on a college campus. But that's it's pretty casual. Let's see here. Where do we buy parking passes? I have heard now that the students have to do this completely online. It's not through Joyal that they have to do this online now.
I had heard Fresno State Police Department from a family, so maybe it's online though. Sorry.
Okay, yep. So I would check one of those two places, Fresno State Police Department or online. Mrs. Ong, you're saying about the map. Are you talking about the parking map?
Yeah, I think she was referring to the numbers on the parking map. Like, can they park any of those spots?
I think of these are the, I think it was labeled this way as to where they could go and park or to pick up. So for example, sorry, let me share again. Okay, so this first area here, this is a roundabout. You can drop off kids here. There's like 3 parking spaces here. So this is more of a drop off. 2 and 3, these are drop off lanes as well. 4 is a temporary parking. You know, if you were with your vehicle, you could sit here and wait, but don't leave without a parking permit. And the same thing, 5 and 6, these are parking areas for students, normally where they park. So if you were parking there waiting, these are covered areas, so they're a little bit cooler, at least in the hot sun. If you were waiting there with your car while your son or daughter was, you know, till they got out of school, and then they said, okay, I'm ready, then you could just come along and then go through the drop-off lane. You could do that as well. This area here, 7, this I believe is green as well, that the students can also park here too. So typically 5, 6, and 7 is where students park when they get a parking permit. That probably is not a lot of freshmen driving though, I don't think.
There was a question about lockers. So yes, every student gets their own locker, and these lockers are oversized. We can fit actually a small freshman inside the locker. We've done it. So they're oversized lockers, so their backpack can fit in there. We made sure even a small instrument, so if they have a clarinet or a flute, could fit in there along with their backpack books. We definitely don't want students chug-a-lugging all these books everywhere, and their backs are all you know, messed up because of wearing these big backpacks. So we do have a locker that's oversized for them to fit everything that they need. And they will have time between classes to go to their locker, since all of our classes are all in the general same area. And then we do have also instrument lockers in the large band room. So if they have a large instrument, they can be assigned a large locker for that instrument. So it's also safe, and they're not having to take their instrument all over campus and have the potential of losing their instrument. Same with the violins and the cellos. We have a place in the small band room for students to lock up their instruments.
Cell phone policy, we're, you know, pretty lax about the cell phone. Many teachers will have them say, hey, pull out your cell phones. We want you to, you know, you're going to play Kahoot, or you're going to take a poll or whatever. Obviously, if the student has it out when they shouldn't have it out and they're playing games or doing something, then teacher might take it away for the rest of the period, or bring it to the office. But that's pretty rare. It usually happens with a freshman though, I'll tell you truthfully. And there's 1 or 2 in a month, maybe it happens to, but they get used to it really fast because they're like, I can't leave my phone, oh my gosh, you know. So but we're very casual. Like we said, we know that there's some of you are, you know, they're far away from home as well too, and so, you know, they want to be in contact, especially, you know, they've been at home for a solid year. So leaving the house is going to be a big thing for a lot of them. So but, you know, they just shouldn't have it, you know, out in class and be texting their friends basically. What are the spring and winter sessions? Great question. Sorry, there's so much information and we're trying not to overwhelm y'all. So we, in California, you have to have 180 days of school. And so since we follow the Fresno State calendar, there's not 180 days of school. So to supplement our calendar, we add these 2 elective sessions. And then also our music classes are part of our curriculum. So they're performing group classes. Those are not electives, those are requirements. So they're fun and they don't have a lot of homework, but you know, they're still part of their requirements. So their electives are during what we call the winter and spring intersessions. So those are in January, so right after the new year. It's about a week and a half or 2 weeks, and then it's in May for 2 weeks, the very last 2 weeks of school, so after the spring semester. And those are where we actually do electives and fun classes. And it could be, some are academic, like SAT prep, driver's ed, extra chemistry, things like that. Some are athletic and activity type of classes, like skiing and snowboarding up at China Peak every day for the 2 weeks, Recreation Nation, soccer, you know, activity like that, or, you know, sports, rock climbing we've done. And then some are just some fun activity things, just trying something new. We try to make them be enrichment classes for students to learn something new. We have a textile crafts where they learn how to knit and crochet. We have students put together the whole yearbook in 2 weeks. We've taken a trip during that time, pre-COVID, so we'll see what happens this year. But we've taken a trip to Belize. We've taken a trip to Costa Rica. That had a cost to it, obviously, but they were actually very low cost trips. But we just do all sorts of different activities during those times. The students can also use them to travel with their families. So for example, since the winter session is the first 2 weeks after New Year's, then some families will find out when that is, and then they'll plan their family trip, or maybe to go visit family at that time rather than during the Christmas holiday when it's really expensive. And so they use that, and then they just have to either, write a report or make a little PowerPoint on it. We have an assignment for them to do during that time, but then they get their elective credit for that. They can also choose travel in the spring as well. So a lot of times for seniors, they take their senior graduation trip during that time, and it's typically in May. So again, a little less expensive than it is in June. And we also have things like work experience and community service for the older students as well. So fun times. The kids love it. We do lots of different fun things. We try, different things. We hire Fresno State professors to teach for us. So we have drawing and painting and ceramics and, different things like that as well. So it's a fun time that the students look forward to. No homework, just participating. Yes, if you could pre-register for lunch at UHS, and if you could email Jennifer Merritt, our office manager, that would be wonderful. Her email is jmerritt, JMARRETT. I see on here on the webinar status, it tells us that you raise your hand, but we have no way to do anything with it. So if you have a question, just put it in the Q&A for us. I haven't been checking out the chat. Oh, I see somebody says they're a Fresno State professor. Wonderful. Email me or Mr. Morgan, and we would love to see what you can teach for us, because we offer different stuff all the time. Biology, we've done ethics, all sorts of great stuff. So.
There's been lots of questions about PE and just, we don't have a PE uniform. We just tell students they need to dress comfortably. A lot of students just come dressed on PE day, so they don't even have to bother changing or anything. We do have temporary lockers in the PE room for girls and boys if they'd like to change in there, which we recommend, and then they can keep their stuff just right there in a temporary locker. And then when they get back, they can go and change if they want. But most kids will come with the appropriate shoes, running shoes, and just comfortable clothes that day, or they can change into those if they prefer. But we don't actually have PE uniforms or anything like that.
Really too, I know in the past, many times a student will have a PE medical excuse. You really probably won't need it. Mr. Hagan is like a personal trainer, and parents, you'll be like, what'd you learn today in PE? Because he is fabulous. I mean, if the student has an injury or has some sort of medical thing, he works around it. He makes a personal plan for every single student that needs it. And so your son or daughter is going to come home learning more about personal fitness than they've ever learned. Sometimes they can't walk because they're so sore, but it's like they get a great workout. You're going to be like, wow, you learn a lot in this class. It's PE like you've never seen it before. In fact, if you want to see a great workout or a great video on how we run PE, it's on our website on the media tile, and then it says PE on it, and check that out. Somebody said, how short can athletic shorts, or, again, just there's no it has to be the edge of your fingers, nothing like that. We don't run things like that. If you think they're too short, then they're too short. Obviously, if we think they're too short, then we're going to say, can you find some other shorts to wear? If you look at them and you go, we're probably going to look at them and go, so they just, they shouldn't be inappropriate. Okay. Somebody, I see you, Mrs. Harris. What is Magic of the Arts? Okay, so Magic of the Arts is our annual all-school music show. And pre-COVID times, used to be BC now, it's like PC, right? We would do an all show for all the students in the whole show, all 500 students. And we put together these musical numbers, and we're down at Soroyan Theater downtown. And it's, you know, typically on a Saturday, and the students are there all day long practicing, and, you know, the show's going, you know, these groups are going in, these groups are coming off, and, you know, it's this whole show all together, and it's wonderful. Obviously last year we couldn't have the show. And this year, just in anticipation of, we didn't want to have to deal with, we could only sell every other seat or get shut down or anything like that. We're going to do Magic of the Arts at our school this year. It is the last week in October, October 25th through the 29th, I think it is. And we're going to just do it here on our quad with different performing groups each night. So it'll be 2 or 3 groups performing each night. And we have our theme for it. And normally this is a big fundraiser for us through Phoenix Alliance, and we sell the tickets, you know, for the seats. So I don't think that we're going to sell tickets this year, but we'll do some other fundraiser attached to it. So it'll most likely be free, but we'll have another fundraiser with it, like text your donation in, something like that. But it's a fun all school event. Like I said, normally held down at Soroyan Theater, but this year we're just doing it here on our own campus outside in the evening. Okay. How many times do students perform every year? It varies, but in a regular typical year, PC, before COVID, pre-COVID, we would have Magic of the Arts, and then they would do a fall show, and then they do a spring show. And then if they did any festivals, so 3 or 4 times in a year. So this year we do have dates saved in the fall and the spring, and our Magic of the Arts show here. So right now, typically we have 3 shows or 3 evenings reserved for each performing group. And we have 11 or 12 different performing groups. Yes, drama should be performing. I don't have the plays yet. We typically do a play in the winter and a musical in the spring. And so we're planning on that again this year. Okay. Other questions? And anytime that you guys have had enough of us, feel free to log off. Don't feel you're not hurting our feelings. I know we've talked a long time, so, but we will answer any questions that you have. Anything else? I was looking in the chat. I think you guys got all of those answered in the chat, right? Did you answer
sports? We do offer sports. We still haven't received any other guidance, but cross country is usually the first sport that we offer. And then after that, we usually have basketball, and then volleyball, indoor soccer. We have, if we're going to rock climbing, where we go to Medal Mark, and our students go there to compete against other schools. So all of these are competition based. So we do play against other charter schools like us. So Patino, Design Science. We play our games at Duncan, but they're at night. We don't really have organized practice per se, just because students are in school till 5. So oftentimes it may be practicing on their own time. And then the games are usually 1 or 2 nights, so 1 night a week, I think. Usually.
For cross country, I have talked with Mr. Hagan. He's our athletic director. And so he normally will put something in the bulletin, and he and Mr. Bensley, our other PE teacher, they usually let students know in PE what's going on with cross country. Last I did hear from Mr. Hagan is cross country, and we compete as in invitationals, just like all the other schools in Fresno and Clovis do. And so look for something in our bulletin. And that's how the students find out about cross country. Typically, they just practice on their own. Mr. Hagan will give a workout schedule. Like this week, I want you to practice running 1 mile. Next week, build up to 2 miles, like that. And then he'll give them the workout schedule. And then, and that's what Mrs. Felger was talking about, that we might need help with rides and all of that. So if we need to, we can always get a bus, but typically we can usually make it with parents helping to drive us, because we're just at Woodward Park, so it's not too far. Sometimes we're further away. but we just go to a couple invitationals a year for cross country. Looking forward to running again because it's been 2 years. Okay. Any other questions? We got everything in the chat answered okay? All right, if you don't have any other questions, you are free to go. Thank you. Please join us next week. Maybe come a little early, 5:20, 5:25 to pick up your child's schedule. And then you'll just go through the courses and yep, then you'll meet all the teachers and you'll get their syllabus, and then you'll, see all their expectations and everything like that. And again, any questions that you have, we're all here. We're all workaholics. We're all here all the time, and we respond quickly to all of your emails and everything. And if you want to call and you want to talk to us too, we talk to you too. We don't have that phone tree where you have to push the button and everything. We answer the phone. Maggie will answer the phone when you call, and then if we're available, we'll talk to you anytime. Okay, we are here for you. Your kids are our kids. My daughter goes to school here, so we treat all the kids here like family. By the time they walk across the stage at graduation, we know every kid. We know all their families. We treat them like family because they are our family. We choose to work here. We don't want to work anyplace else. We know it's really complicated right now with Fresno State with this vaccine requirement. We know that's been a contentious issue and stuff like that. But besides that, this is, and that's not even, it's not a negative thing. It's just a new thing. And when anything's new and changes, it's hard sometimes. But we love it here. We don't plan to go anyplace else because we love it here, and the kids love it too. Many of them finally feel like they have a safe place to go to school because it's they can finally be themselves and be who they want to be and be a smart kid, and it's okay. So yes, of course, we are here. So if you have other questions, we'll stay on, but otherwise, thank you all for coming. We appreciate your time. I know it's 2 hours, so thank you. Next week, it'll be at 90 minutes. So, because it's very timed for you. And we will have someone on the announcement saying, okay, go to the next class, go to the next class. So thank you all. We'll be here next week too. If you need anything, we will be around. We'll be on the stage waiting for you for your questions. So thank you so much.